Hello everybody, and welcome back. I'm Bringer of War, and this is World of Tanks. And today I have a replay of one of the most fun, exciting, and tense battles I've ever had in a light tank on World of Tanks. And I'm here on the Northwest map in a platoon with my brother, Korax over there, and our good buddy Star. And as you can see, we're all driving light tanks. Star and I are driving our M41 Bulldogs. That's the amazing, absolutely amazing Tier 7 American light tank. And my brother is driving the not-so-amazing Tier 7 German light tank, what is affectionately known as the Awful Panther. And we are here in what is a heavily Tier 9 game. About half of each team is made up of Tier 9 tanks and a couple of Tier 8s. And then there is, well, as you see the guy saying in chat, a lot of light tanks. There are about 5 light tanks on each team. Yeah, 5 exact on each team. So it's a lot of light tanks to play with. It can give a lot of fluidity and kind of speed up the pace of a game, but it depends on how the lights are played and whether they all decide to suicide scout in the very beginning of a game. Now, as this is a very long game, and as we will see at the end, very tense, I am going to speed up parts of it to get through some of the parts where I'm just driving around, not accomplishing very much, and this is one of them. I'm just getting down into the south here, and my friends are following me, and I'm just trying to get a quick early spot on whatever might be coming down this way, and to my surprise, I don't see anything. We already have a couple of lights and a medium spotted in the north, and yes, I am just driving circles down here. I don't want to get into a bush in case something with very good view range happens to spot me, because there are some very big guns on that team. Get a nice drift there. And I don't want to lose all of my health that early because I've been spotted. So I'm just trying to keep on the move, and I unfortunately ran my Star there. But for the first time we see what's on this flank, and I was right, there are some big guns down here. There's a Jagdpanther 2 and a Jagdtiger.
Penetration.
Start getting some early shots into this Jagdpanther 2, and let me put this back at normal speed. And I very luckily dodged a big shot from him. So at this point we're just trying to pick away at him a little bit. See if we can maybe break through on this side of the map. As you can see, I do have 6th Sense on this crew, which is a great skill to have on a light tank crew, and it proves to be pretty useful in this game, as we'll see later on. But at this point, I'm starting to get worried about what's driving through the center. First, I thought it was a T-49 that may have gone behind us, and I'm not sure whether at this point I had spotted that actually the T-49 had been lit up behind me. But I'm going back here to make sure that nothing is pushing straight through the center, and instead of finding the T-49, I find the Indian Panzer.
Ready to fire. We didn't penetrate their armor. Penetration.
And I'm just trying to desperately get out of his way here so he can't ram me.
Penetrate their armor.
But he's already done a lot of damage to me, and I'm losing a lot of health very early on in the game.
Penetration.
Thankfully, Star is here helping me, and together we finish him off. But I've already lost the majority of my health. I only have 200 health left, just over 200. And really, the rest of this game is played with that little health pool, which just adds, again, another level of intensity and tension to this game. I don't think at this point I had high hopes that I would be able to survive the whole game and dish out a lot more damage. One wrong move and I can get one-shotted by the remaining tanks on their team. They do have one light tank left, so I might be able to get away with getting hit by him, but I doubt it. And as you can see, we're having some trouble in the north. Looks like they've broken through there, although we do have an Object 704 and ISU holding them up. We get some nice shots in on this Lorraine 40T, who's left himself exposed. So Star is kindly going ahead of me here, given that he has a lot more health than I do. We run into the RE-251, the Tier 8 German scout. Get some shots in on him. Unfortunately, we don't finish him off. Star gets very close, but he's taking fire from someone. possibly that Lorraine.
Target unlocked.
And we don't want to stay out in the open exposed, so we back off. And it's at that point that we see the VK 3002D advancing on the IS-6 at our base, who I don't think has moved thus far in this game. I could be wrong. I wasn't paying attention as to whether he had moved or not, but I seem to remember at the time thinking, why hasn't this IS-6 left the base yet? So he may have been there the entire time. So we're turning back to give him a hand.
Fire. Ricochet.
Bit of firing on the move here, more or less to distract him and slight chance of doing damage.
Enemy is
This is
hit.
when we start doing damage. He gets finished off by the M53. Some wonderful driving on my part. And here I'm a little bit indecisive. I'm thinking about heading back to join up with my brother, but I changed my mind as to how I want to do that. Think about going up this way, then I decide to go this way, so let's speed this up a little bit. Looking for shots on the RU or the T-95, but there's nothing there. There's only the slightest shot at the 40T, but he backs off because he's getting hit by my brother. So Star and I each plant a shot into him. At this point, he's obviously pretty concerned. So we're thinking we might go after him, but then we spot what's going on at the base. We've got a Tiger II and an AMX 5120 heading straight for our cap, and they've taken out the Object 704. The ISU is still alive, but he's actually behind them at this point. So we're going back to give him a hand and taking them out and make sure we don't get capped. Although, I may have still been thinking about going after this 40T. Maybe we quite haven't spotted it yet. Yeah, I think it's at this point that we finally make the decision. The 40T's just been taken out by our T-54E1, who, well, I exchange a few words with him later. But he's taken him out, so now we're heading back to the base, and the Tiger II was just taken out by the ISU. And so Star and I decided to split up and go at this AMX 5120 from two directions. Unfortunately, perhaps wasn't the best idea. This might have been my fault because I lost some time doubling back. But we didn't go at him at the same time. And the 5120 is able to focus down Star. He does take a nasty hit from the ISU, but one shot to Star, and then two shots, Star's out.
Target lost.
So this team is, we are one tank ahead, but there are still some very dangerous tanks left on that team. 5120, a T-95, Tier 9 Russian artillery, and the RU.
Enemy armor is damaged.
So I'm just trying to get a couple shots in on this AMX 5120, and I'm hoping that the ISU or that our RD come to back me up. And credit to them, both of them do
Where'd
that.
they go?
And I'm more than glad to let them take this kill. I can't take one shot from this 5120. And luckily the ISU takes him out. But unfortunately the RU takes out my brother. So I'm now the last surviving member of my platoon, and one of the last 4 tanks on our team against the T-95, a 212A, and the RU. As you can see, I'm pretty concerned about that T-95, and I start telling him to focus. I start telling the artillery to focus down the T-95 if we manage to get a spot on him, and my brother's doing the same.
Penetration.
I get a shot in on the RU, but T-54 takes him out. So now my objective is just to try to find that T-95, who's I'm thinking is most likely still somewhere on the A-line, given where he was last spotted, and given how slow that tank is. So I'm heading north to try to find him. And instead of finding him, I find the 212A, and I'm thinking, oh my god, get out of here, get out, run! He could probably splash damage me to death.
Where'd they go?
So I get behind some cover, and I'm waiting for this ISU and T-54 to come up. Although I do want to get close to the rock to try to proxy spot him. And I get exactly that. So I'm pulling up to see exactly where he is, and sure enough, he has pulled behind a rock. So given the low health that I'm on, it'd be very dangerous to push up and try to get some sneaky shots in, because all he has to do is fire somewhere close to me, and I'm dead. So I start driving away to make him think that I'm leaving, or going possibly some long way around, hopefully to fall off his map. And instead I'm going around this way, though I do think I get spotted again because he happens to, yes, there we go. I get spotted again because he comes around the corner right at that moment. So try to come around and help T-54 and ISU. Get a shot in. Still very afraid of that. Very afraid of that artillery taking a shot at me. And actually I'm so concerned I pulled back too fast, but luckily the T-54 takes him out. It's 4 kills to the T-54. And now we just have the T-95 left to deal with. That is nothing to be taken lightly. That is an extremely dangerous tank. If you are in front of it, if you get behind him, you can take him out, but in front of him, you lose. And the ISU just learned that the hard way. He was in a position that I don't think any of us expected to find him. He moved up along the road below this pass, this upper part here. And you can see the Waffenträger offering some similar advice to what I was just saying. If you can get behind the T-95, you can do some serious damage because he doesn't have the traverse speed to spin around. But in front of him, you will lose every time. And at this point, I wasn't even thinking as much about flanking him as trying to light him up for our artillery to take shots at him. And that's what I was trying to do there, but no luck, because there's a wreck blocking me, and the T-54 is not seeing anything from that position, so I figure, forget it. I will head for the cap, and there you go. The ISU read my mind. I'm going to try to get on the cap and lure him back. Overshoot this bush a little, but I want to sit right in this bush, let my camo net and binocs kick in, and I'm going to put the camera back onto what I was seeing at the time, and you'll get to see just how tense this ending was. And I'm going to let this go at normal speed, because any second now, that T-95 is going to be spotted heading back to base. And yes, I do get a bit salty with this T-54, because my brother has told me the whole game he's basically been behind him, letting my brother take the shots, or up until the point that he died, he was behind him, letting him take the shots, not helping out in any way, not losing any health, and again, kind of just behind the push in every situation. And I'm really hoping that he could flank or do something to give me a hand here, but instead he's waiting for me to die in the cap circle, and then I suppose lunge in and try to go around the T-95 during his reload. And there you go, the T-95 has been spotted. He's now 300 meters away.
Ready to fire.
And I am sweating at this point. I am hoping so hard that this camo net will save my life, and that this T-95 will not spot me. But thus far, it doesn't look like he has. His gun is facing the wrong direction. You can see he's even orienting his tank that way. He hasn't seen me. He takes a big hit from artillery. Just a couple seconds more to cap the flag, and he blind fires to my right. And so at that point, I take a quick shot just to try and do some last-second damage, but he did not spot me. And this was one of the most tense endings to a game I've ever had. And I don't like cap victories most of the time, but in this case, I will certainly accept it. And As we'll see in the post-game stats, I didn't just cap the flag, I did quite a lot of damage in what was a very heavily tier 9 game. So some of these battle results are surprising, others are not. Unsurprisingly, I did receive a Confederate medal as well as an Invader medal, given that I had capped at the very end of the game and that I had damaged so many different tanks. But surprisingly, this was only a second class mastery badge, which just goes to show you how well people perform in this tank. Now, I did come in second place in this game in terms of damage, with just under 2,400 damage, second only to the M5355 played by Mikey6028, who played a killer game and got just under 4,800 damage, so shout out to him. But I did come in first place in terms of base experience with over 1,000 base experience. Now, as you can see here, I didn't achieve a hell of a lot of spotting damage, and that may have contributed to why this was only a second-class mastery badge. And I think that has to do with my playstyle in this game. I was much more of an active scout, and not even an active scout, much more of just a flanker and just a fast attack tank. So I didn't achieve a lot of spotting damage, although that shot by the M53 on the T95 at the very end of the game certainly helped with that amount that I did receive. One final note that you can clearly see is that I didn't come anywhere close to a profit, and that has to do with simply how many heat rounds I fired in that game. And my only explanation there is I really wanted to win that one, and so I played to win and I fired what I had to fire. But in the end, it did cost me. Now, I certainly don't want to exclude Star and my brother from my after-game coverage, so if you didn't already notice on the previous screen, the two of them also did very respectable amounts of damage. My brother achieved almost 1,000 damage and Star almost 1,500 damage. So between the three of us and that M5355, we pretty much carried what was otherwise a flop of a tier 9 team. So I hope you guys enjoyed this game. It was certainly a lot of fun to play through and to watch back after the fact. So if you did, please consider commenting, rating, or subscribing. It would really help me to get my channel off the ground, and I'd really appreciate it. And I'd like to thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.